Hey everyone, welcome to another show on Fourth Trimester Voices. Today we have Jennifer Myers, who is an acupuncturist, and she's going to come and talk to us about something that a lot of moms don't know is in their hands. They don't know that they can get these services, whether it's during pregnancy, postpartum, or beyond. And so I really felt like it was important to have her come on here, tell us what she does, and how you can benefit from her services. Welcome to the show, Jen. Nice
Hi,
having you.
thanks for having me.
Lovely. If you can kind of just take an opportunity to tell us about yourself, a little background, and how you came to doing acupuncture.
Absolutely. I'm a nationally board certified acupuncturist here in Atlanta, Georgia. My practice is in Buckhead. And I think I kind of backed my way into becoming an acupuncturist first because I was a patient. And fertility
Mm.
challenges is what brought me to be a patient for acupuncture. We had gone the Western route and done IUI, in vitro, frozen embryo transfers. We had one successful pregnancy test, and then it ended up in an ectopic pregnancy, which then ended up
Oh my
in emergency
gosh.
surgery. That was all in Michigan. And then when we moved down here to Georgia and got settled, we realized we wanted to continue trying. And that's when acupuncture came into my realm. And we were basically doing it for fertility purposes only. But in the process of doing it for fertility, I realized that my whole body was getting treated and kind of unbeknownst to me, which I think is the amazing part of acupuncture is we look at the whole body. And so even though we may be focused, like in my case, on my fertility challenges, my whole body was getting a treatment. And that was really amazing and exciting. So things that I wasn't necessarily concerned about, I had kind of just accepted them as
Mm.
part of this is just who I am, suddenly started to resolve themselves. And I was also coming at it from a financial background, and my job was very stressful. It wasn't necessarily the field I thought I would stay in, but I also didn't know how
Mm.
to get out of it. And so I feel in a very roundabout sort of way, acupuncture was instrumental in me figuring out that acupuncture was actually the thing that I wanted to do. So it is my second career in life. I've been doing this for over 12 years now and absolutely love it. And the fertility piece in particular is especially close to my heart.
Wow, what a powerful story. I always enjoy listening to how people, came about to doing what they're doing. And I can always tell when someone feels really passionate about their job. And it sounds like that this is your calling and this is something that helped you. And in a way, because of your experiences, you're able to help other women. So lovely story. And thank you for sharing that. How does acupuncture differ from other holistic treatments that women do? I mean, there's a lot of information out there for women in terms of, fertility or overall wellness. Tell us a little bit about acupuncture. If somebody doesn't know what it is, how does it differ from other things that are out there holistically?
Well, acupuncture often gets categorized under alternative medicine, which I
Hmm.
really think is funny because it's really the original medicine.
Hmm.
Acupuncture has been around for over 3,000 years. Some say it dates back as much as 5,000 years. And to me, the fact that we're still using it now means that this medicine is tried and true and proven. And how acupuncture works is really supporting our body's systems and their ability to function the way that they were designed to function. I mean, we
Mm.
are born with all of these amazing systems to help us function, but their primary job is to keep us healthy. And whenever anybody has any sort of health challenges, including maybe reproductive challenges, it's just a sign that our systems are struggling to do what they're supposed to do. So,
Mm.
acupuncture is really just going into the body and saying, let's help these systems function at their best capability.
I love that. When you talk about, you talked a little bit about how acupuncture helps with fertility. Let's talk a little bit about how acupuncture can help in pregnancy. I know for one, I had to use it myself for nausea, vomiting in pregnancy, and also just back pain and ailments. But
Yeah.
let's talk about how women can get this done during their pregnancy and what the benefit it is for them.
Acupuncture, first off, is 100% safe to do from the moment you find out that you're pregnant. And I feel during that first trimester, especially, there's a lot going on. If this is your first pregnancy, your body's never done this before. So
Mm.
it's figuring it out as it goes. And helping support your body through that first trimester, I think is really critical. As you mentioned, it helps support energy levels. It helps
Mm-hmm.
support and minimizing any of the unfavorable symptoms that people might have, like the
Mm-hmm.
nausea, or sometimes it's not even nausea. It's just that feeling of just feeling horrible. Call it
Yeah.
kind of the hangover effect, right? Where it's just like, I don't feel good. I'm tired. I have a headache. So acupuncture supports to that first trimester, really focusing on helping you feel your best and minimizing any unwanted side effects during that first trimester. And then throughout the pregnancy, once we get into the second trimester, some of my mamas just come and see me maybe once or twice. Really just depends on how they're feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
then usually by the third trimester, women are starting to feel from carrying that extra weight. So they might start coming back to me more during the third trimester for things like back pain or hip pain or some sciatica type pain that we can definitely help support their body and minimize pain like that. And then as we get close to probably week 35-ish in the
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy, we look at doing weekly sessions to what I call labor and delivery prep. For many months now, your body has been holding and nurturing, and now we want it to start thinking about relaxing and releasing and letting go. And so we just gently start helping the body gear up for that, starting about week 35 until baby arrives.
Wow, that's amazing. And then any benefit in doing acupuncture just to help with labor, either labor pain or positioning of the baby? Are there any benefits in acupuncture with that?
Absolutely. So if women come to me and they're having a breech baby, we can do things with acupuncture to help the baby turn and get back down into the optimal delivery position. And then usually around week 37, 38, I have some take home things that I show the mamas with their partner that they can do as far as acupressure type points. So if, let's say, they start into labor and delivery and contractions start to slow down, there's some acupressure points that they can do with their partner to help facilitate and get the labor and delivery process kind of restarted again. There's also things that they can do from acupressure standpoints to help with nausea and pain during labor and delivery as well. It's kind of hard. I would love to be in a labor and delivery room with them,
I
but
know.
doesn't always work out that way. So this is kind of the next best thing. I sent them home with sheets. I even mark the points on their bodies. I invite
Mm.
their spouse or partner to come in with them so I can like practice with them and show them where the points are and how to apply the pressure for them.
That's great. It sounds like you're really following women in their entire journey, right? The pre-conception, the conception, the pregnancy, and supporting them through childbirth, which is amazing. As they transition from having childbirth, at what point can they start acupuncture again after they give birth?
Great question. Immediately. As soon as they can get in, really is ideal. Labor and delivery, whether it's a vaginal or a C-section, it doesn't really matter from my perspective. It's all trauma. It's trauma to
Mm,
mama's body, right? And it happens really quickly. And you think about the grand scheme of being pregnant for so many months and that gradual growth and change that happens over 9-ish months. And then literally within probably 24 hours or less, like a complete change. I mean, this human you've been
mm.
growing is out of you. Your body is no longer holding and nurturing. It's done this humongous release. So even if it's a vaginal delivery that's gone well, that's still very traumatic to your body. So getting in as
Mhm.
soon as possible just helps that whole healing process. It helps the whole hormone rebalance starting. All of that just jumpstarts the healing process on so many levels.
And let's expand on that because I often have mamas really come and they want their hormones rebalanced after giving birth. And like, what does that mean for a mom? And how can acupuncture help give that balance? And how long does it take before they can start feeling the effects of acupuncture?
A good question because I think it varies from one mama to another and how quickly
Hmm.
they come in. The system or the whole process starts as soon as they come in to see me, and what they experience will be different things at different times. So I had a mama not too long ago that came in for her first postpartum session with me, and I think it was just over 5 weeks from delivery, or right around 5 weeks from when she had had her baby. And at that time, she hadn't had a period yet, and which wasn't surprising at all. But I just asked it and then said, okay, well, let's go ahead and do a treatment. Let's see what we can help your support your body. And the next time she came in, she goes, 2 days after I saw you, she goes, I had my first period.
Wow.
So it was pretty quick. Obviously, her body was probably ready, and it just needed a little gentle encouragement to start regulating itself as far as a period. I think if mamas are especially wanting to have another child after this one, whether it's their first pregnancy or their third pregnancy, it's also important to really help facilitate that full healing process before they start on to have the next pregnancy. And the sooner they can get in and start that, the better.
That's good to hear. To describe, I'm a little bit of a nerd sometimes when it comes to science and just health and wellness, but explain what is happening in the body and the brain when you are having an acupuncture session.
I think for most people, their experience is just complete relaxation. Part of the acupuncture session is helping your body get into a parasympathetic or relaxation mode because that's when healing happens. So most
Mm,
people, when they're on my table, actually fall asleep and take naps. And when I say that
mm.
to somebody who's not had acupuncture, they kind of scoff at it and they're like, okay, I don't really see how that can happen. You're going to stick a bunch of needles in me and I'm going to fall asleep. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
But then once they get in and realize that just having the needles in and the body feeling supported physically,
Mm,
mentally, and emotionally is just very relaxing. And then it's also kind of giving yourself permission for that 30 to 40 minutes that you're on my table. It's like giving yourself permission to fully relax. Like, I don't have to go and do
mm.
laundry. I don't have to go care for a baby. I can literally, this is my time. And once they surrender to that, it just feels so nice.
Wow. I'm just the thought of you saying that right now, I feel like I feel like I need to be on your table because it's like what is that with everything that goes on in our lives and being a parent and work and being postpartum honestly is a really tough time for moms and they're trying to balance what it is to be a new mom. They're trying to balance the responsibilities of being a partner and maintaining the house or whatever else they do. And so a lot of moms can find themselves in a state of anxiety and depression. And so I'm listening to you talking and I'm just seeing how powerful of a role that acupuncture can play when it comes to mood stability and really preventing postpartum depression or anxiety. What role have you seen in your practice that acupuncture does in warding off feelings of postpartum depression?
It's really about that regulation, right? And supporting. We go through such a huge hormonal shift. And some people can do it and it's fine. And for other people,
Mm,
it's a little bit of a struggle. And it doesn't mean anything if your body's struggling to self-regulate and you go into a little bit of a depression. That's all fine. We just want to support your body's ability to move through it and not get stuck. I think at the base of acupuncture is always movement. And so we
mm,
need the body to continue to move. And it's okay. It's more than okay to go through waves, to feel fear after having a baby, to feel a little bit of sadness, to obviously
mm,
feel joy is great, but also to feel even a little irritable and frustrated. All of that is acceptable. So it's okay to feel all those feelings. And I think sometimes when we try to stifle or put on the face that everything is great. I'm a new mom. It's great. I've got it.
mm.
It's great. That we don't want to necessarily admit that we're struggling. And I think that
Mm,
in itself can help things get stuck. And so when you come and see me, first of all, it's your safe space. And I tell my
mm,
mamas that all the time. I'm like, this is your space to say whatever you need to say. The things that you maybe don't want to say to other mamas or to your spouse. This is your get it out. Just say it. This is
mm,
really hard. Or this morning, I just wanted to cry when I woke up because it feels overwhelming, or whatever it may
mm.
be, because it is important to feel all those feels. And then once you're able to continue to have that movement, then we can minimize or eliminate some of the anxiety and depressive tendencies.
That's great. So for women who are finding themselves moving towards that, there really is a benefit in coming to visit you or just seeing an acupuncturist. And I think that's amazing. And honestly, the one thing I love about the birth space and having people on the show and talking to people is that a lot of the practitioners who come on here don't just focus on that one thing. It's this whole body approach, this whole human approach. And I appreciate that when you sit and you talk to your mom moms, it's not like, let's get this thing done, right? It's this like, you as a person, how can we help your entire being? You're listening to them, because even that is therapeutic, to just sit in someone's office and let it all out and share what you're going through emotionally, mentally, physically, and know that you're not just focusing on that one skill or practice that you're doing, but you really are concerned overall about their wellness. And so really appreciate hearing that from you. And just, I think it's a great thing when somebody is like looking at mom's overall well-being.
Absolutely. And when they come in, it's like, what's going well and what's not going well. And that's what we
Mm,
focus on, is just meeting them where they're at today. And then tomorrow it may look totally different. And that's okay.
mm.
So today, where can we provide support and help you be the best version of yourself so that you can show up for others in the way that you want to show up for other people? But if you have to show up for yourself first.
Mm, I love that. Let's talk about some conditions that acupuncture can help in the postpartum period, right? We talked about warding off postpartum anxiety and depression, overall trying to relax. Let's talk about just healing and some breastfeeding issues or pelvic floor dysfunction. Let's go into it a little bit and talk
Sure.
about the benefits of each one.
Yes, let's do that. I think one of the things that women probably don't think about that's less obvious is lactation. And so if
Mm,
women are breastfeeding and they're having any sort of struggles there, acupuncture can certainly help with that as well. So I always check in with my new mamas, even before they have the babies. Are you intending to breastfeed? So that I can check in with them and say, look, if it's not going well or you're having struggles, if maybe your milk's not coming in, or anything there. Sometimes women can get, their ducts will get clogged. We can actually do things
hmm.
with acupuncture to help that clear and
Oh,
move out.
wow.
I had a woman that saw me, gosh, it was years and years ago, and she was visiting from another state, and she actually came into me for back pain, and her baby was probably a little over a year old, and she came in with debilitating back pain. And funny enough, I did a treatment on the front side of her body, and this channel that I worked on is a channel that literally runs right through the middle of women's breasts and right through their nipples.
Mm,
And I did it for her back pain. And then, which really helped her a lot. She was able to stand and leave the office with very minimal pain. And then later that day, she called me and said she had a huge express from one of her breasts of this old stagnant milk that she didn't even know was stuck in
wow.
her ducts. And it just, like, this whole thing released and came out. And she said, I had no idea that I was even stuck or clogged there. She goes, I haven't breastfed in so long. And so
Mm.
it was really amazing just to see again how her coming in and with back pain, but we were able again to treat the whole body and get this significant release and movement happening for her.
That's fantastic. Wow. That is news to me hearing that. And so I have to put that in my back pocket when my moms come with lactation issues, because that's beautiful to hear. A lot of times we think lactation consultant, and so I never really knew the role of acupuncture. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, if there's been a cesarean, that's a huge trauma. I mean, that's surgery,
Mm,
many layers deep. And so if our mama's had her baby by C-section, I always recommend they come in when we want to help
mm,
heal the abdominal area. We want to help heal that scar tissue. Acupuncture helps with blood flow. It helps
hmm.
minimize the formation of scar tissue, and it helps just healing at those deeper levels. Also helps with how the uterus getting back to its size. So that elasticity and that shrinkage that needs to happen, it just really helps support that whole healing process at a deeper level inside.
That's great. And speaking in the same area, how about the pelvic floor? Because a lot of women really don't even know the changes that their pelvic floor is undergoing. And only years later do they realize the impact of pregnancy and childbirth. How can you help the pelvic floor heal early on so that women can prevent these life-altering pelvic floor issues that they face later on in life?
Yes, I think it has a lot to do with that trauma down there. Again, whether it's a vaginal birth or cesarean, the quicker we can get in and help your body actually heal from that and heal properly with minimal scar tissue sets them off
Mm,
to having minimal, if any, pelvic floor issues. The second piece of that is I also revisit the posture, the pelvic floor especially, to see how maybe their posture has shifted during the pregnancy.
mm,
And if there has been a shift in the posture, then we want to really help to correct that so it doesn't continue on going forward. And so with acupuncture, we can help refocus the muscles that are maybe becoming more active and overly engaged because of carrying the extra weight in the pregnancy, where then the opposing muscle groups are stretched out and lengthened and not engaging as much. So we need those to re-engage as much as possible. So a lot of it is just helping your body release that muscle memory that was formed over those 9+ months and saying like, gosh, that was muscle memory that was necessary for carrying a baby, but you're not doing that right now. So let's let go of that muscle memory and retrain your body to function now without carrying all that extra weight that you have to compensate for.
Okay. And I'm sure that probably also helps with pain control, right? This is a big one, which probably I think moms need to hear over and over because we have aches and pains, right? Especially with C-sections and back pain. And so the role of acupuncture with pain, please explain that so women understand how it can help them.
Yes, so acupuncture is great for all sorts of pain, obviously postpartum pain as well. So getting in there with helps the body naturally with pain relief, but then also any sort of inflammation that's happening there as well. So it's just helping your body support its natural processes. And when we have pain in the body, it's a signal that something is off. So I explain to people that from my perspective, when I ask about the pain that they're experiencing, for instance, if they say, well, it's more of a dull, achy sort of pain, then that tells me then there's not enough energy moving in that area and we need to get more movement happening. Versus if they come in and they say, ooh, this is a really sharper, stabbier type of pain, then to me, things are moving, but they're running up against stuff. Now, to me, stuff is scar tissue and inflammation. So we need to help the body be able to break that up. So then that will eliminate that sharper, stabbier pain that they're experiencing.
Mm. When I went to medical school, a lot of this information was not taught, it's not readily available. And there was always this like us versus them. There's Western medicine, and then there's this. And I think for me, I discovered a lot of these treatments when I was postpartum, really pregnant and postpartum, because I feel like there's a lot that medicine can't do, right? When you're pregnant, you can't take this, you can't take that. And so you have to go out on a limb on your own when medicine can't help you, right? I remember having back pain and I going to my doctor, and my doctor's like, go see physical therapy. Went to physical therapy, and physical therapy didn't help. And so I had to go and look for the acupuncturist. I had to go look for the massage therapist and the chiropractor to really make me well. And so I look now where we are, where we've come. I've seen a shift with some physicians who now are utilizing all these resources and going outside of their expertise and saying, listen, try this. How are you received with the patient's treatment team, right? Midwives, OBGYN. Do you find yourself integrating well into their team? Because there's a huge benefit in having you be a part of the team. Has there been a shift based on 15 years ago when you started practicing and now?
I think there is a shift that's continuing to happen and it's building momentum. I think the us versus them, like you were talking about, is really unnecessary. There's room for everybody at the table. And I always talk about the team aspect, like you were discussing. I think everybody needs to have their team, and each person, each specialist has a key role in the team aspect, but they all work together. We're not competing with each other. It's all about helping support the patient and the person from all different perspectives. So I think there's room for everybody at the table. And I feel like more people are embracing acupuncture as like, ooh, like fertility specialists. It's like, I actually get better results when patients come to see me for fertility with IVF, IUI, when they're also getting acupuncture. So why would they not support what we're doing on my end when it's helping them get success on their end? So I see a lot more of that happening in this, realizing like, oh, we're not in competition with each other. What Western medicine is doing is a very different vantage point than what I'm doing with acupuncture. And so I tell people, it's like, you're here in the middle. Western medicine's looking at you from this perspective. I'm here on the other side of you, looking at you from a different perspective. But our goal is to help you be your healthiest, best version of yourself.
And I think moms need to hear that because your options, there's so many options when it comes to your wellness. And you don't have to feel like, oh, I have to do it this way, right? You have, and you're listening to the show, you're listening that you don't have to just do it this way that's being said, you can look into these other forms of treatment, which may be less invasive, may have less medication. Not everybody wants to be on gabapentin or steroids or pain medications, but there's these other options. And so open up your heart, open up your ears, because you never know. It may really change your life and your overall well-being. As you can see with Jen, she's a whole acupuncturist now. So I just think it's amazing. What advice would you give to our moms who maybe are considering adding acupuncture to their postpartum recovery plan?
Yeah, I say just make an appointment and get started. My goal is always to get people to where they're feeling amazing and they're just seeing me for maintenance. I say it's like an oil change, right? You come in to get an oil change before you run out of oil or your car has issues, right? And same thing with acupuncture. It's like coming in to see me 4, maybe 5 times a year because everything's doing really well and you just want a little tune up to keep you working really well. But if you're coming to see me and things aren't working well, then we address those. And as they start to resolve themselves, we look at like, okay, how do we start getting you more towards a maintenance? But if you're like having challenges with fertility, I'm very upfront in saying to patients, like, this is what a plan looks like if you're on the track and want to become pregnant and you're having challenges. If you're seeing me only, this is what that looks like. If you're also seeing a Western medicine fertility specialist, this is how I work with them. And so we just kind of talk about what the plan looks like and what the expectations look like it as well.
Right. And how can they find you if our moms are in Atlanta, Georgia? Where are you located? What's your social media handle?
Yep. My social media handle is at Core Acupuncture Atlanta. I'm on Instagram and Facebook currently. My website is also coreacupunctureatlanta.com. And I'm in Buckhead, very easy to find. And the hours and all that are posted also on Facebook and internet. So I have online scheduling. You can also reach out to me directly, Jennifer at coreacupunctureatlanta.com.
Right. And let's send our moms off with words of wisdom. What is one thing that you would love to leave with our moms who are listening today?
Just be kind to yourself.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. Very impactful.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for coming on the show. Yeah, it was a lovely conversation, and I hope our moms are blessed with this conversation. So take care of yourself.
You as well. Thanks so much.
If you live in the Atlanta, Georgia area, I want you to consider working with EM Care to You. And this is my concierge medical company, and we offer comprehensive care for mothers postpartum. I started the company because I saw a need. I was taking care of so many postpartum moms that had a need, and I wanted to provide a solution for their problem. So at EM Care to You, we provide access to in-home lactation support, pelvic floor physical therapy, mental health support, and more. You can learn more about this at emcaretou.com. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Fourth Trimester Voices. If you have any questions about today's episode or you want to share your story, please email us at fourthtrimestervoices@gmail.com. My name is Dr. Choa, and it's been lovely talking with you all today. Take care.